here's the knife we're gonna make today. This is gonna be a little piece of brass, and the metal we're gonna use is a piece of angle iron that I have cut to pieces. I've gotten a bunch of knives out of this one piece of metal. And this is mild steel, so we're gonna quench it and temper it and all that good stuff. Yeah, enough talking, let's get to it. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna trace our knife out, and we're gonna go ahead and just cut this out with the angle grinder there. So, yeah. All right, thought I'd share this with you. This makes life like 10 times easier, and it helps you from making big scratches and stuff in your steel. Whenever you're doing like little fancy work, I guess you can call it like that, but just little like tight places to get a grinder wheel, just make little grooves like that and then just go through and cut them all off individually and then clean it up on the bench grinder. That's a whole lot easier than trying to just cut that out. So yeah, here's our knife so far. So you can see this is only taking me like 5 minutes, but yeah, it's definitely getting there. It's looking good. So we're gonna keep on with it. We're gonna cut all those out and probably clean these edges up a little bit. So yeah. All right, so here's our knife now. You can see it's all cleaned up. That looks really nice. Everything looks nice except for this rust. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop that cutoff wheel off, and we're gonna put this little just flap disc on and grind all that rust off. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get that grinded off. And if I got some really rough spots for rust in there, I'll just take that to the bench grinder and just grind that off. So we're gonna go ahead and get as much rust off as we can. So here we go. Okay, so that rust really dug into this blade like everywhere. You can see it's got all those little like holes everywhere or whatever. So I actually kind of like it. I'm gonna give it a rustic look, kind of like a old-fashioned kind of forged looking knife kind of style. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave everything kind of dull like that, and then I'm gonna make that bevel really shiny, so that'll really pop. So how I do my bevels is I just eyeball it. I don't have time to go over with the file for hours. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grind them in with this little bench grinder. So I mean, it looks pretty good just with that, and then I'll go over with that just regular grinder and then clean it up a bit. So I'll try to set you up somewhere so you can see me how I grind these bevels into this knife. So yeah. Okay, so here's our knife right here. You can see it's not the best bevel in the world, but you're not gonna get the most perfect edge with a bench grinder and a angle grinder. I mean, it's just how it's gonna go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a hole right here and a hole right here. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and, before we heat this knife up and quench it, we're gonna drill these holes so the steel's not hard to drill through. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the right size bit in the drill press, and we'll go ahead and drill this hole. Okay guys, so here we go. I got my torch here, I got my knife, and I got a little jar of oil right here. So I think all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to keep the flame on this edge just like the part we want to keep hard on the knife. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do all my talking right now because you won't be able to hear me over this torch. But yeah, I'm just gonna heat this up glowing red, and then once I think it's red enough, I'm gonna take it, dip it in that oil real quick, and just stir it around. So yeah, here we go. Okay, well, that was kind of boring. That took forever to do. Hopefully I did it right. I mean, I got that knife as red as I could get it with that torch. So yeah, let's do a sharpness test on it, or see if that file will skate across it. Okay, let's see. That knife is still pretty warm. I'm gonna put the gloves back on. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of its oil. It looks pretty cool. So, yeah, let's do our sharpness test here. I think you just take it. This is just what I've seen on Forged in Fire. It should skate right across to sharp, or if it's hard. That sounds pretty good to me. And then we're gonna go inside. We're gonna put this knife in the oven for like 2 hours. So, yeah, I'll see you guys inside. Alright, so this knife's been sitting in this oven for an hour now on 400 degrees. So we're just gonna go ahead and shut the heat off. I'll open that oven up, and then we're gonna let that knife cool down until we can, like, hold it with your hand, let it cool down to the touch. Then once that happens, we'll put it back in for another hour on 400 degrees, and then we'll be done. So this knife should be very hard, so it should be really good edge, strong edge. So now all we got to do is put a handle on it. So yeah, here we go. Okay, so the original plan was I was gonna get like a piece of walnut or something, some sort of darker wood, but yeah, that didn't end up working out. So all I got here is I've got this little stretcher that I use to like stretch coons on, and I've made a few knife handles out of this because you can see how short it is now. But all I did was I took a Sharpie and I just kind of traced out that tang a little bit. So now just use whatever you got. You can use a handsaw. You could probably use a grinder if you really wanted to. I'm gonna use a jigsaw, but yeah, any way you got, just go ahead and cut those out. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that real quick. Okay, so I have two rough shapes cut out of my handle. So let's see, there we go. You can see all I'm gonna do now is I'll actually set my phone up to show you how I make these handles. Okay, so making the handles, it's real easy. I don't know why I used to struggle with it so much, but yeah, what we're gonna do is you just take your knife and line it up to where you want it, like put it as far up as you want it to go. I want mine to go about right there, so that's where I'm gonna put my wood, or put my handle material. So once I have that where I want it, I'm gonna make sure this knife is laying like completely in the lines of this piece of wood, which it is. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hold it really tight with both my thumbs. I'm gonna turn this on, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make two little marks in these holes in that wood, so I know where I want to drill. I'll show you what I mean by this. So you see, all I did was I just kind of pushed up through the knife, like through these little knife holes into the wood. So now I have two little holes, one right there, one right there. So now I'm just gonna take it on the drill press and drill all the way through. Well, now we have both of our holes drilled. So what we're gonna do is take this and line it up with these holes as good as you can. Let's see. Okay, once you have these lined up as good as you can, take this other piece and just kind of sandwich it on there as good as you can. And if you have super glue, that really helps too, but I don't think I do at the moment. So we're just kind of winging it as of now. Now we're gonna hope these holes still line up, and we're gonna go through the whole thing again. Okay, now we should have two little indentments in this piece, which we do. So there's those. Now we're gonna go ahead and drill these all the way through. All right, now let me grab my nails. And we're gonna test fit it. That one's going good so far. Now we just gotta get this piece on. All right, there you go. So you can see it's in there pretty good. Okay, so our epoxies have finally thawed out, I guess you could say. Like, stuff's ran to the bottom. So what we're gonna do now is first take all the crap out of the way. Take our little caps off. Try not to get in too much of this in my hands. But yeah, we're gonna put an equal amount of this type of it. And we'll put some of this in there. Again, I'm just eyeballing all of this. And I've made a bunch of good knives just eyeballing stuff. Okay, it looks about good to me. So we'll put our caps back on. I think that's all we're gonna need. Now, this isn't your normal epoxy. It's not that 5-minute epoxy stuff that you have to rush around with. This, it takes hours to dry, so you've got basically unlimited time. So I'm just using, oh, it's called G-Flex epoxy too, and it's really good knife making epoxy. I'm just using an electrode here, mixing her up. Okay, so our epoxy's evenly mixed up now. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take these pins out of here. I was just test fitting that. And then basically, we're gonna try not to get any of that epoxy on the blade. You can wrap that up in like painter's tape if you want to, just to be sure you don't, but I'm not gonna mess with that. Now I'm gonna, don't go light on it. Make sure you get this stuff on there pretty heavy. So and we're just gonna smear some of this on our nails or pins. And yeah, take some, smear it on there. Let's go in on this side. Then our other scale can go on here. And then take our knife, or take our nail and put that in the hole over here. There it is. Okay. Now, we're getting somewhere. So you can see we got all that stuff sandwiched in there now with epoxy in it. So what I'm gonna do is I have a bunch of clamps out here. We're gonna try to fit 3 on here if we can. We want there to be no room for this thing. Just get it on there as tight as we possibly can. So if you guys don't get the point, you want this thing tight. You don't want there to be any gaps or anything where your just epoxy and stuff can escape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lay this down here on the table, and here we go. So I'm gonna let this knife sit here until I get back home from school tomorrow. All right, guys, it's probably been about 24 hours. But here's our knife. We're gonna go ahead and pop all these clamps off of it. Last one coming off. Okay, so here's our knife so far. All I'm gonna do is basically this is the easiest part there is. All you gotta do now is just cut these nails off, or your pins or whatever. Cut those off clean, and then I'll take it to this bench grinder again, and then just kind of round these edges. And then that's also personal preference. You round that knife to however that feels good in your hands. So I'm not even going to video myself doing that. All I'm going to do is just cut these nails off to the end, and then just kind of round this handle out on this bench grinder. I'm just going to sit here and kind of roll it like that. Just, you know, just get it real smooth. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. So I'll show you guys that once I'm done with that. It's looking awesome. So you can see I took it to that bench grinder and I got it all the way down to the metal, and then I just did that all the way around it. And then all I did was I kind of took it, I kind of just, you know, spun it around that bench grinder wheel over here, and then I put it in the vise like this. And I just took some sandpaper and just went back and forth the whole lot. And yeah, you can see it's looking really, really nice. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take just this regular like wood handle look off, and I'm gonna take this torch and I'm gonna torch it and make it all black. All right, there we go. That was probably how long, a minute? Something like that. But you can see now it's got that dark finish handle kind of, and all we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it back into the vise, and I'm gonna take some sandpaper. Actually, I won't even put it in the vise. What I'm gonna do is I'll just take some kind of little bit finer grit sandpaper. This is 320 grit, and we'll just take, I'll fold this disc in half. Just go over it and sand it to where it's like real smooth. Grab a little paper towel here, and then just kind of wipe off some of that soot. I guess whatever that stuff is, just that filth, you see? Now, I'm gonna go over everything one last time with the flap disc here, and just shine up the tang through there, shine it up on that side, then probably hit that bevel one more time. Make sure it's just real shiny. Okay, so we got everything shined up now. Now what we're gonna do is the last and most satisfying part is the boiled linseed oil. This is really gonna make that grain pop. Take it and then get you a good healthy amount on there. And just watch this as the grain just pops. You see how much just better that looks, just wiping it in that one spot. We're just gonna go over the whole knife handle and just really rub that stuff in. Okay, I got it all rubbed on there. Now I'm just gonna take another paper towel and just kind of dry it off for a little bit. And that is a finished knife. What do you guys think about that? It's got a really nice feel in the hand. Like, that feels amazing. And then real straight, and it's just, yeah, it just looks like a cool knife. Definitely one of the favorite ones I've made so far. So yeah, there we go. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Well, if you did, be sure to like it and maybe subscribe if you'd like. So yeah, without further ado, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.